maybe I'll record.
Well, I'll record and edit to YouTube as well. And I just started recording.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
that's what that answers your question, I guess.
yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. Let's see. What other? Vanessa. Rose,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions?
Yes, always.
Awesome.
So my first question is on the January KBOPR on the modified gross pay, because usually to get that we minus the 401k, but we don't have that on this one. So I was not sure how to do the modified gross pay.
Let's see. So I have, let me share my screen and I will kind of walk through what we have. Share screen, preview January. So this is what you're using, right? For
Yeah.
January and to get the modified gross pay. So I'm just gonna read through quick summarize cloud, current payroll only. If you're taking classes. This, I don't even know. This is my PDF. It may have changed the docs in this current class, but we will create Excel spreadsheets similar to payroll spreadsheets. We complete the first few weeks of class. Then create the journal entry required. The Excel spreadsheet for January is in countless January documents. So it gives you this Excel spreadsheet. I'm curious.
So yeah, what I wasn't sure about, yeah, because it doesn't have the 401k to deduct from the gross pay, from the payment.
Oh.
So I was wondering if we just leave it as normal, or do we have to do any other calculations?
No, so if they don't have a 401k, you don't have to worry about it, essentially.
Okay.
And I don't think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think this company says anything about 401k. I think this is the only information you're given for their payroll.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either.
Yeah, so don't worry about the 401k. And it looks like don't worry anything about medical as well, right? Medical insurance.
No, they gave medical somewhere, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they
No,
have
medical,
Medicare,
yeah.
but that's
But
different
yeah.
than the insurance. Yeah, I don't think they have insurance on here. So it's just the wages for the period, Social Security tax, Medicare tax, the modified gross pay, state income, and then the federal and net.
Okay.
One thing is these 1100, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in the document. For the journal entry, 1100 is wrong. You do not want to put 1100 here. You want to put 2400 and then cut checks for these amounts, if that makes sense. So like these net pay amounts. So this is an example for Jill Sudbury. This is Jill's, right? So we have 3,500 gross pay. We have all her payables, her Social Security, Medicare, state, federal payables. And then we have her net pay. And we want that net pay to be a $2,400 or a 2,400 account for the net pay to Jill Sudbury. And then these payroll memos can be essentially a check payment. And we cut a check for this $3,043. And there's a few reasons why we do that, but the main reason is their checks don't clear in January. And when you reconcile January's books, you won't be able to reconcile well, it's actually in February, but when you reconcile February's books, you won't be able to reconcile the entire journal entry if you do it as a journal entry. And that's why we're going to do it as a check, because there are some people that don't cash their check in February. I can't remember which person it is. I think it might be Mark, or no, I think it's Mark. He doesn't cash his check in February, so it doesn't reconcile if you do it in a journal entry. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you get to February. But does that make sense with these journal entries, that we're not putting them to 1100? Because if you did a journal entry like this, you're essentially saying that you paid them in cash somehow, and that cash all is associated with one journal entry. And when you're doing the bank rec, you can't reconcile to just one line item on the journal entry. You'll reconcile to the entire journal entry. So that's just a helpful hint to do it to 2400 and then cut a check for the individual amounts, because February is going to have bank paid or checks paid out of your bank for those payroll checks. I hope I didn't confuse anyone. Does that make sense, Vanessa, or did I just confuse you more? Okay.
No, I think I got it. I think yeah, I think I got it.
Let's see.
My next question is, I don't know why, but my, what do you call it, products and service, my products, it's one of them is always under, like on negative, but I put it in all the orders from the entry. So I don't know, is that normal? Is supposed to be on negative, or did I really miss something?
You missed something,
Okay.
to be frank, but I don't know what. So let's see if we can figure it out. So it shouldn't be negative. I think at some point in the class, it might go negative. It gets close to going negative, if I remember correctly, but then we make an emergency purchase order and bring it back into a positive. So let's see.
Because
I'm in.
It's usually it is the rain jacket, because we start with 0, but it's the first, I think the first one is when we purchase some, but because it happens like I said, we sell a lot after, I go into negative, and I don't know why.
So I think you started with 0 in 12/31.
Yeah.
Right. But then January 3rd, we purchase 100 of the rain jacket. So you should have 100 on hand before you ever sell anything.
Yeah.
So let's see. That's the wool top, Wasatch Gator, rain, 100 bill, quantity 150. Oh, rain jacket here, so 30. Invoice, the credit, quantity. So we have 0. Oh, let me share my screen. I'm just looking at, is it okay if I share my screen and
sure.
share your books? So this is the inventory valuation detail report, and I'm looking at the, going down to the rain jacket here.
Yeah.
I'm comparing it against the PDF. So the PDF we have, on January 3rd, we bought 100 of these rain jackets.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And then on January 3rd as well, there's a purchase order of 40, which is fine. So that puts us at 60 quantity.
Yes.
And then they gonna rain paint, rain jacket on January 7th. There was another purchase for 48. Okay, you have that. Rain paint, rain jacket on January 10th. We have a bill. And so I have all these January 10th. You purchase 109, which is fine because it's all on the same day. Okay. Purchase order of 14, 12 and 2. Okay, I guess that looks fine. They're the same invoice. It's kind of odd that it's 12 and 2 and not just 14. But it says 14 anyways. I don't know. It seems odd just because I think you put these in. So in the PDF, it shows there's a bill for 110 and then invoices after that. So, but for the day, we're fine at 107. But then it gets back down. Let's continue on and just researching product return request of 4. Credit memo, we get the product return, yep. And then that's fine, that's good. And then on the 13th, January 13th, we have a cash sales memo of 24, perfect. Rain jacket, 120, cash sales memo. That 120. I'm guessing it is for a cash sales memo. Let's see, 83 plus 4 plus 33, 120, perfect. But that was on the 17th as well. Let's see what else we can find. On the 18th, we have a purchase order of 12. What am I missing? We had 111, dropped us down to, we used 120, 12, 50, have that. Purchase date of 24, purchase order of 20. Gives us a negative. Gotta be missing something. What am I missing? You said it started with a 0 amount on inventory as of December 31st. Well, that's so. There should be, the beginning balance should be 50. as of December 31st. The rain paint had a 0 balance, but the rain jacket has a 50 quantity on hand. So that's a little different, but it doesn't push us into the positive. And what else? Let's see here. The 2,200, that's just to buy the equipment on hand, or not the equipment, but the inventory on hand. So let me share all my screen. Desktop 2. So can you see this PDF? It says Wasatch Outerwear beginning inventory as of December 31st. Prior year, we have a 50 quantity on hand.
Yeah, but that's strange because I did the December one and it was correct. So technically it's supposed to be there then.
Maybe it's just my report. Oh, hey. Let's see here. So this is the open report. Inventory starting value, rain jacket. It says 0.
Yeah, it does say that. But like I said, it's strange because the one before it was like perfect fine.
Maybe. And this looks different. But again, rain jacket, you have 0. Rain paint, you have 0, which is accurate, but the rain jackets should be 50. And we can change that for you, easy enough. We'll keep the retained earnings there. That still doesn't fix our issue with the end of the January. Oh wait, it does fix that issue. Why did it fix that issue? I thought we were, oh, I was looking at asset value of negative 225. But the quantity, now we're off by negative 15. So we still have a weirdness, right? Let's see here. Sales by customer. Have you done everything else?
No, actually, I got stuck on the payroll as well. Not on the payroll, but on the journal entry for the payroll. But yeah, I'll figure out what is wrong. I just want to be sure that if, you know, I wasn't sure if it's supposed to be negative or not. And then that's why I will figure out what's wrong with it.
So let's see, sales by product and service summary. It's just January. And the rain jacket is 274. So your cost, the amount, percentage, that looks good. Average price looks good. So this looks all correct. So the sales, assets might be where we need to look at the inventory asset.
Yeah, this one I know it's a bit off. I was looking at it yesterday, yeah, but I couldn't figure out yet what was wrong because I know there's a difference.
Right. So there's a difference. So inventory asset balance. Where is, I delete this. So total inventory, beginning balance seems off as well. I can run through this. What is that amount? 41. Where is our inventory valuation detail? So JP Johnson boots and shirts, beginning balance. Where is, oh, that's why. Was I running this the whole time in 2022? That's 10, that looks good. Total amount. I might have been running it for the wrong date. Because we ran this. That looks good. That looks good. Okay. I think I was just running it for the wrong date, so it was looking funny. It wasn't matching what I wanted to match, but I think we're good.
Okay. So my next question is with the petty cash, because it says that we're not supposed to create an account. So I'm not sure what to do with it. So where do I credit the petty cash then?
So let's see. Petty cash custodian. So replenish petty cash, $5 postage, $12 delivery expense, $14 cleaning expense.
So I'm guessing it's going to be a journal entry because we don't have the account.
So you're replenishing the petty cash, which means it is going to be a payment memo. So you're not hitting the petty cash account, but rather you're hitting the cash account with this like replenish. But you don't want to hit the petty cash. You're just going to hit the postage and delivery expense and the cleaning expense directly. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure. So because, okay, what it doesn't make sense to me is like usually I take from the cash account to the petty cash account. But because we don't have a petty cash account, I don't understand how do I get out of the cash and put it back in cash?
So in some instances, you're right. Yeah, you could create a petty cash account and it would sit on the books of like there's $50 in petty cash. But for large companies and for some companies I've dealt with, they don't track a balance on petty cash, or they don't keep that on their balance sheet. because it's so minimal, what they do is essentially keep the receipts in there. So let's say there's $50 in the petty cash, but we go in there and we see there's only $19 in there, and then we see $31 worth of receipts. So we say to ourselves, okay, we need to replenish this petty cash amount. So we're going to go to the bank, get $31 out of the bank. And when you do that, you can do two things. You can either do an expense, or you can do a journal entry. Those are the two options. Or you can go through a bill and pay bills, but that's in my mind too much work. I would just do, oh, this isn't, wait, why did it kick me out of this? Because that was yours. It kicked me out. Use a different ID. Guess it kicked me out altogether. If you do an expense, it's going to come out of your cash account.
Okay.
And then you can do payee. You can just leave it blank if you want, or you can add new and say petty cash. Payment method, you can say cash. Add additional stuff, but category, put postage. Delivery expense, most likely postage as well, or I'm not sure what that would go under for a chart of accounts. And a cleaning expense is a cleaning expense, and then it would equal $31. And you hit save and close, and it will show up as a replenishment because you're actually taking the cash and replenishing the petty cash. But what we want to do is just hit the expenses to recognize the expenses. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Now I understood.
Okay.
Another thing that I get confused as well, is there any difference between expenses and bills? Like when I pay gas or electricity or whatever, I usually do expenses, but then when it's an order or something like that, then I do as a bill. Is there any difference? Does it has to go like that?
So it depends on your process. So most companies create a bill, and then they hold on to that bill and it sits in their accounts payable. With us, most of what we're doing is essentially same day transactions, right? So it says pay this, and it pays. So we can just record an expense. I'm trying to think. It will affect your accounts payable. So on your balance sheet, we have 23,000 of accounts payable. So that means we made a large bill, or there was a large bill that came in.
I think it
or
was
a couple large.
That was 17.
Yeah, there's a couple large bills that came in at the end of the month. Or, yeah, right here. So we purchased our new delivery truck on our account. Please make appropriate 17,200 accounting entries. So that's most likely one. And then we have our purchase order. These are other bills. And until we pay these off, these sit in our accounts payable.
Okay.
So to make your balance sheet correct, you'll have to do a bill for a lot of these.
Yeah.
Vendor, ship to, this is us, right?
Okay. So let's
It's
say
order
whatever I
memos.
can pay straight away. So usually it's an expense. And then whatever
Yeah, so like
it might
these,
hold on my account, then it's a bill.
exactly. For this payment memo, this would be just an expense. January 26th, it's $125 power bill, because this is an expense, easy peasy. But for things that you buy on account or with terms, like, you know, the ones that say net 2, net 10 or whatever, I think it's 110 on some of these. Oh, 2 net 10, 210 net 30. So if you get a discount, if you pay it within 10 days, you get a 2% discount if you pay it within 10 days, net 30. This would be a bill that you have to enter.
Okay.
that you
Sorry,
buy
I
in
have
these.
quite a few questions. I think this is the last one. Another thing that I wasn't sure, because we have two kind of returns. One which we are returning something, and there is another one which the client is returning something. Which one of them goes to the returning account? Because I think I put one of them, but I still have missed something, or both of them goes to the return cost of goods sold return and allowance account.
Merchandise returns and discounts are ones that we're purchasing. I'm trying to think, actually. Let me think about it. Merchandise returns and discounts, it's a COGS account. That's our expense. That's a negative. Cash discounts, this is ours. So this merchandise returns and discounts are essentially when a customer gives it back to us.
Mm-hmm. So let's say all the
Our-
discounts that we received by paying should be there.
Yes. And then the
Probably that's what's wrong with it.
yeah, I'm trying to think. Vendor discounts. And it says a vendor discount, a vendor credit.
So all the vendor credit should be on the merchandise return and discounts. And then everything else, just cost of goods sold.
Yeah, vendor credit when Wasatch Outerwear returns defective or misordered items. So this is when you buy something from a vendor, but then you return it because it's defective or misordered. Cash discounts is for customers. Is that what I initially said, or did I say it backwards?
No, yeah, I think that's what you said.
And then we offer discounts to our customers. It is important to apply the discount to the proper customer. Please follow this method to record customer discounts in this course. Income account should be 48 cash discounts. Yeah, and then it kind of tells you how to do it. New button, customer credit memo, products and services, cash discounts.
Okay, I think that's it.
All right. And you said you got the payroll question answered, right?
Yes, because I couldn't do the
That was the
payroll
other one.
yet because I wasn't sure if, I need that to be sorted out first, then I could do the journal entry. But now that I know that the gross pay won't affect anything, so I could just go ahead and do the journal entry for that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and this is the key, but I've changed my journal entry to 2,400 instead of 1,100. And I've had a few people bring that up through my inbox, and they can't figure out how to clear it, or it looks funny, or they do a $0 check at the end, it just doesn't work out. If you put it to 2,400 with the journal entry and then to cut a check out of 2,400, it works out. And let me show you, looking forward into the future. I think you guys already have access to February numbers, but I'll show you the example of why this makes sense and why it's important to cut checks instead. So you can see that So for January, we cut a check January 31st, or I think so.
Yeah,
That's when
so
these payroll, January 31st. But those checks for 3,043, 2890, and 4213 never clear the bank in January. But then if you look in February, we see those checks, 3,043 and 4213. But what isn't here is Mark's check for 2890. And sometimes that happens where you give someone a check and they never deposit it, so it's not in your bank rec until they deposit it. And it just sits as an outstanding check. That's what you guys will run into in February. And then it should clear, I think, in March or April as it comes up. But that's just something that, you'll see in normal business, and you'll see as you're doing bookkeeping that there's an outstanding check that never clears, and then you have to contact them and say, can you deposit it? If you don't have it, do you want us to reissue a check? Can you void that one or reissue a new one? It's pretty common practice.
okay.
But yeah.
Does that mean that our trial balance and the other things the reports won't be exactly the same because we'll have a different amount to payroll liabilities?
No. So the trial balance are going to be the same. The trial balance is going to match these documents, but there's going to be a cash to book difference. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that term before, but it's a term where it basically says it's not reconciled dollar for dollar because of timing, basically. And that's why it's important to do bank reconciliations, because sometimes there's outstanding activity that never happens, and your cash in your books shows that it has happened. But when you look at your bank account, it's different. And sometimes you can get in trouble because someone has, let's say, if this is the case, we have our balance sheet of $214,000 in the bank. Let's say we cut a check for 200. So this is extreme, but we cut a check for $200,000. And it sits out there and we forget about it. And in 6 months we see, oh, we have, $300,000 in the bank. And then all of a sudden someone cuts on our books. It shows that we have $100,000 on our books, but in the bank, it shows that we have $300,000. And we think to ourselves, well, why is that? And then you forget that there's an outstanding check, and you said, well, our books must be wrong. We must have 300,000. Let's go buy something new. And then all of a sudden they cash the check, and now you go into the negative. And there's things that could happen, but there's always a bank or cash to book difference if you're not reconciling to the bank. And that's why you're supposed to reconcile monthly in QuickBooks. And it'll have, when you reconcile, so you go to accounting, reconcile, you can get started. And let's get reconciled. We have this first one. We'll have January ending balance. This is our bank statement. We have this ending balance, 217. In January of 2022, And you have start here. And you have all this activity. You can hit all of it, and yes, select all. And all of it's cleared except for a few things. So there's no check to payroll check. So that's one thing that needs to be out. All the payroll check needs to be outstanding. It looks like we're missing some January activity on these books, but essentially what we do have, and this is, I guess, just a method or a quick lesson on how you do bank recs, but essentially just check off. That's on the statement. That's on the statement. 35,886. I don't know what that is. Is 35,886 these two together? Looks like it, huh? Yeah. Yes, it is. Those two together. So that's all the deposits. Now we go to the checks paid. We have 4,500, 3528. The $0 expense is 0, so we're gonna hit it anyways. It probably shouldn't be here. I'm not sure what that is, but we keep going down. We have the 100. We're missing this 300. We have the 100. 75, 74 is there. 45 is there. 228 is there. 219, 125, 55. And we're missing 300. And these banking fees of $21. So we won't have it reconcile until we have those two. And for the banking fees, we can just add a new expense. And the bank, I don't know what bank, our name. Do we have a Canyonlands? Yeah. Do you have a Canyonlands bank? All capitalized. We don't want to do that. Canyon Land First National Bank. Vendor. So much work. Customer, vendor, employee. I'm not going to put any of this other stuff. Taxes, just save. So we have that. We have this date is January 31st, usually is when they do the bank fees. Payment method. Guess technically it's cash because it's cash that they removed from our cash account. And then we have bank fees. What kind of fees? Bank service charges as an expense. Let me say banking fees, amount of $21. Hit save and close. We come back here. This is our bank. Now we can select that. And now with $300 off on January 16th. And I don't know what that is. Office carpet needed cleaning. Oh, it's the $0 one. So this $0 one shows $0, but it should be $300, right? So January 10th, $300, Western Cleaning Services. It's a check, sure, save and close. So this bank reconciliation helps a lot just to clean up stuff. And you can finish now, but what it's showing is this received payment of $3,038 is still outstanding. So essentially, we may have put it in the bank, or we may have shown that we received it, but it didn't hit the bank until next month. So we got it, they cut the check on the 28th, we got it, but we didn't put it into the bank until it was too late. So it won't show up till February. So this is going to be outstanding. So there's going to be a book to cash difference because your cash in the bank account shows this when you look at it, but when you go and reconcile this, there's going to be a slight difference. But yeah, that's probably a longer answer than you wanted or a longer demonstration, but please do your bank reconciliation. That's one of the most important things to actually make sure we're recording things correctly and making sure that what is flowing in and out of your bank account is accurate. Just like we had this $300 expense isn't here. It wasn't there, but now it is, just because we did a reconciliation. And then the reports, and that's one thing in real life that you can measure that you're doing everything accurately, because what you've put into the system is what's in your cash or what's being taken from your bank or coming into the bank. In our class, we can review and match to our reports, right? We have a P&L, we have a balance sheet, we have our trial balance. But if we didn't have that, we wouldn't know what needed to be in cash. And if we didn't know what needed to be in cash, we couldn't really know what happened to book it. So, any other questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, awesome, blossom. Well, I will stop recording and post this to the announcement area. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions, just email me or send me a message and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can.
Thank you, Brother Lopez.
Okay, thank you. We'll
Thanks.
talk to you all later.